To the February 9th, 2023 library trustee meeting. I'm going to start with correspondence. No correspondence moving to minutes of the prior meeting from January 12th, 2023.
Move to approve meetings from January 12th, 2023.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Accepted. Any public participation?
Not that I can see.
Treasurer's report.
Okay. In the trustees gift account, we have $408.99. In the internal building fund, we have $22,360.16, most of which is encumbered. The MBLC grant state aid, we have $13,044.32. And in the Barth month ending statement value is $1,511,120.37.
Any questions about the treasurer's report? That's what she was in the.
I can send you the Barth one.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right. There are no questions on the treasurer's report. We will move to the friends report and you are ready. Okay. So I can put it up. Thank you for taking that. So the cookie sale is coming up this weekend. So that anybody wants to take. So I will love the library event was this weekend. So the planning was made for that. The mini golf that was a big topic of conversation. So March 31st, April 1st, discussing what was going. We have an agenda item later on that I can go through the details. Remember, they decided not to do the April transportation can and bottle drive. A lot of effort for not implementing. And they're making pretty good money on the book sale. So that has been they're putting out a newsletter. So the goal is to have a print newsletter sent out by the end of February. They're talking about dates for the coming year. Tentative date or sometime in May for a book sale, May 19th, based on the availability of NHS. They won't do a spring yard sale in 2023. And then still thinking about summer third Thursdays, because they're going to do something there. October fall sale. And then the holiday bazaar, etc. In the winter.
I think how their drive for membership went.
I don't have the exact numbers, but it's going better than it was during the fundraising. They've bounced back. Awesome. Fantastic. If I understand. And they did get some, they sent out an email. I think the membership person wasn't there at the meeting, so there wasn't a lot of discussion. Well, yeah. Memberships have been coming in 11,000 total in memberships for 2022. And then hopefully with the newsletter that goes out. Yeah, so I do think the email and then the reminder email and then the newsletter is their plan to like space out reminders.
I thought it was going well, but
Yeah, it's definitely, it was depressed during the building fundraising, so it's nice to see it. Any other comments or questions on the French report? We will move to the building update. Take it away, Sam.
All right, solar panels. So Brian's been going after KRN to get the solar inverters installed for the solar panels. He finally got them to agree to next weekend. So we just have to figure out a time because they will have to shut off power to the building at some point. So they understand that we're open to the public, so they'll try to do it during the time when the public is not here, but we're just trying to figure out a day and time right now. So we'll working on that. As far as the front door goes, so the front door, in case you guys didn't hear, broke. The automatic door opener, just the little hinge snapped off. Don't really know why. Neshoba was able to come out and do a quick fix. They are not sure how long it's going to last. They said just be careful with the door. So for right now, Neshoba is working on getting us a quote to fix it permanently. And I also reached out to A&A, who was the original installer. They said it's 1 year out. It's over the 1 year warranty. So they're going to give us a quote as well, but they needed us to give them some information that the town has to fill out for tax purposes and credit check. So, once the town fills that out, the town did fill it out. We're just waiting on them to give us a quote as well. So I haven't gotten those quotes yet. Yeah, so we're working on it. But right now, the door is not flinging open and it's working, but we just have to get a permanent fix. And as far as the metal gate goes, the metal gate lock broke again, but we got them to come out and they fixed it. So it is now locking as it should. So,
Looked like a more permanent fix.
yes, it was a different guy this time, not the same guy that came the last 3 times to fix it and didn't. Looks like it worked. He waited to make sure that we all knew how to use it and that it was working, and we did. And so far, so good.
Do you need any, are you all set with the funding for the temporary fix on the door and the metal lock? Or do you need something from us?
So the door might need something from the trustees, but we're not sure yet because we haven't received the quote.
Not the quote, but like the temporary fix that.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Are we going to need a meeting in the interim in order to do work? For this meeting.
Probably not. I don't think so.
This is actually a great question when we meet with Alicia to review the building finances. We know the lead, not the lead, no, the Green Library Initiative account, that money that should be coming back to us does have a few things pointed to it in anticipation of receiving that money, and it's plenty of buffer there. So I'm wondering if this is something that we could put into that, point to that account.
Yeah, we'll have to talk to Alicia about that.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, and I also spoke to the patio doors have that little gap.
Yeah.
I talked to George about it, and he's going to look for some sort of solution or talk to Michelle about it, see if they can put something.
It's in the front door too.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, check with them.
Okay.
When I was here that very cold day, it was really.
Okay.
So just check that.
Okay.
But thank you for reaching out to me.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Any other building related topics?
The water bottle filler has stopped tripping the breaker, it looks like. So they came and fixed it. Then the very next day, it did trip the breaker. So I just reset it, emailed them, and then it's worked ever since. So, but GDG reached out to Schneider, and Schneider said that it might be, and it's probably not the bottle filler because the bottle filler only takes a half an amp of power. So it's probably something to do with the breaker itself. And so they're going to come out and test it to make sure there's nothing wrong. So George has coordinated in doing that as well.
Okay, moving from building updates for the individual report.
Okay. So this month I was part of the committee that interviewed the new facilities manager for the town. We interviewed 4 candidates. not quite sure. It kind of just ended there. So we'll see.
You haven't heard from
I haven't heard from,
the rest of them.
no. I presented the library's fiscal year 24 budget to a joint meeting of the select board and the finance committee on January 24th. At the meet.
They're very nice.
Thank you very much. At the meeting, I highlighted our accomplishments over the past year, including increased attendance and circulation, and presented our budget requests for the new fiscal year.
Do you have any feedback?
Nope. Never do. We received 16 applicants for the YA librarian position. Mike, Jean, Diane, and I have interviewed 8 of them so far, and we've called back 4 of them for second interviews next week.
4 from the 8.
4 from the 8.
Do you have other first interviews or?
No, that's it. Yeah. So, yeah, so there are a lot of great candidates. So,
They're both happy with the school.
yeah, I think we're,
Either one of the 4 would be fine.
yeah, any of the 4. Yeah.
Deciding on who it will be might be difficult, but
Yeah. I think we all have our favorites. So we'll see.
Diversity within the candidates? Are we even allowed to ask that? Is that okay?
I don't know.
Not really. I don't think so. None of the candidates were very diverse.
That's okay. I was just
Yeah.
curious. I know it's so,
Yeah.
small town.
Yeah.
I was just curious.
Let's see. Mike and I are going to hold a coffee hour with we're calling it RHL management team event on Saturday, March 4th at 10:30 a.m. So if you want to see the both of us be awkward together, you can come by. Gonna be fun. We have a planned late opening on March 7th for one of our department head staff meetings. I reached out to the Mass Library System for a consultant to come out and do some sort of professional development training with the staff. So
Is there a topic that you're interested in?
I was thinking about readers advisory, but I don't know. I'm still figuring it out with the consultant. Yeah. And then there are a few things the staff we'll have time for the staff and all of us to talk. So some upcoming programs. So there's the normal Take Your Child to the Library Day, PJ Story Times. A new one is Sock Snowman Crafts for kids, and Movement and Books with Sarah from L'École de Ballet. And Diane.
That's cute.
Yeah.
That interpret the books of movement.
Yeah, that sounds good. And Diane's going to start out a new program called Busy Bees Playtime. It's basically just an open playtime. She's going to have some toys out for the kids. It's for toddlers and moms and dads and legal guardians to get together. I think it's a Monday. It's a Monday at 10 a.m. Yeah. And winter reading program ends on February 25th. Young adults, we have the team board game night going on. For adults, we have Seed Library grand opening on the 11th at 11. 50 job seekers that's been going on for the last few weeks. New thing I'm going to try out is the tech drop-in help. So patrons have been asking sometimes they ask for help with like downloading ebooks and movies and stuff. So just set that up. Something that a lot of people wanted that Catherine had set up, but then we had to cancel is the Wire Tree Arts class. So we set that back up for the 4th at 2. College financial aid program with Jack Wang. He's come to the library a few times. He's going to talk to parents about how to plan financially for college. Starry Skies Healthy Garden. It's a program about how to grow gardens at night. Apparently. I think that's something Helen set up. Tchaikovsky's 1812 Overture and Copland's Lincoln Portrait Music History Program. So that's a music history program talking about Tchaikovsky and Copland's 2 famous musical.
The Elkie, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Elkie.
She doesn't read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to have a little music concert with Women Rock, 15 iconic women who shape music. They're coming on the 30th, and then library mini golf on the 31st and April 1st. And Conservation Commission asked us if we do an ecology program on the vernal pools in Littleton. So that's going to be March 20th. And Maya Boost Your Health Better Sleep programs. Those are Maya is our town. They're the company that manages our health plan, and so they're doing the insurance. And so they're doing programs for everybody. So, yep. Yeah. Yeah. Through March. Yeah. And
You have a plan for how to get this information out.
yeah, so I've been putting things on TV, Facebook. We send things to LCTV all the time. We put things in the Lowell Sun.
If you think you could consider doing a one-page summary of what's coming up at the library and get it into the.
Oh,
I would encourage that because then we'll get.
That's the rest of stats. Financially, they're doing well. We're pretty much on track for this part of the year. Any questions?
I was a little surprised to see the patron name in the book in the bike program.
Maybe just say. Yes.
Okay, I just.
That's just a mistake. Sorry about that.
Where's the fire alarm?
So, this little kid in the kids' room, the children's room, he was actually sitting right next to his mom. His mom was busy talking to someone, and he just like pulled it. Then he pulled it again because he liked it so much. So we evacuated the building. Littleton Fire Department came. It was fine.
It's a good process. Did it go okay?
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, the little kid came up to us and apologized. Well, his mom attempted. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It worked. Everyone laughed.
Everybody laughed.
So anyone else have observations? Okay, so when I was looking at the attendance stats and the timing of programs, I was noticing over the last few months, those in the teen room specifically, but also somewhat the children's room aren't aligned to the school calendar.
Okay.
I'm wondering if you and Diane and whomever the new YA person is could just take a look at it and see if that would be a way to get kids to be here versus running around town and having trouble with things like that. Which they'll still do that, but an option, an alternative option would be great. So I'm looking forward to seeing whoever the YA librarian is. Will their schedule be aligned to more closely to when students
Yes.
enroll? Okay, so it seems like that's going to be feasible.
Yep.
Great. All right. Any other questions? There is no old business right now. We're going to move right into new business. So we're going to start with the programming survey update.
So we got 112 responses. And it's kind of interesting. The numbers from the first question sort of correspond with what, at least what I saw in number 3, where people could sort of express what they were looking for that wasn't in that section. But it looks like most people are looking for, or a majority of people are looking for author and book talks and sort of, learning some sort of new skill. And then the other things, crafts and music and stuff like that, somewhere a few people here and there are looking for that too. And then it also looks like most people would like these to be in the evening, except on Saturdays when they would like it in the morning. And some people would like it when we are not open test or on Monday, Friday, and Saturday. So yeah, I thought it was pretty 112, I think, is a pretty good number to get responses, considering I haven't done this before. So I think it'd be interesting, if we do this again next January to see how many people respond. But I was pretty happy with the results.
Do you have any insights on the other questions? things you might be thinking of for them?
If there anything stand out, like top three kind of things you think, maybe I'll go with those.
Not really. Like I said, I think I'll probably focus on the book and author talks and the sort of learning the new skills. I think sort of the good thing about the responses was sort of, learning new skills kind of broad. So what skills people are actually looking for is sort of, there's a few things throughout the survey, like gardening and cooking and stuff like that. So that's probably how I'll tackle it that way.
Anyone else have anyone share that?
And I should mention, I didn't include the names of any people who submitted them. I do have them if they submitted them. So if anyone is interested in who said what, I can get you that information. But the way the Google Forms works is I can't.
I appreciate the aggregate without knowing the specifics.
Okay.
Personally, I think it's up for you guys to know the specifics.
Yeah.
You'll get to have the aggregated data.
Fair.
I was driving drive-in store time, I was like, okay. Right along with removing your.
Yeah, but there were like, there were definitely both extremes.
Yes,
Yes.
Yeah.
Both points of view
right.
were represented on
I reached out, tomorrow I have a phone call with someone from the Perkins School for the Blind, and she does LGBTQ talks, not things for the blind. So we're going to talk about her coming out and doing a workshop at the library sometime in the next few months. I also brought it up with Anthony at our meeting today, and somehow that turned into me doing something for all the town departments, some kind of program on DEI. So I reached out to Michelle about doing something about that.
You probably have a resource who could connect you to the school DEI.
Okay.
Me? Yes, me. Right, that sounds like what I do.
Yeah, it's two or three at the station. It could help you.
Yeah. I just liked I just can't think of how many ideas people have. It's great.
No, fun.
So much things I've never thought of.
Love letters to library too. Sometimes it's like, I miss when we did it, I was on Piggy, I love when we did, I love, it's a lot of like, I don't just so fast to say.
And there's people that want to be engaged with that, right?
Yeah. I'm really grateful that you did. Thank you for putting this together and putting it out there. I mean, 112 is not anything to see that. Like, it's a really good response to give us the first one. And then in the percentage of all of our card holders, it's like a snapshot. So it's like, before we make any major decisions about times and anything, I think we do need to think about getting more feedback. I did find the author and book talks of like that as being high interest. And then I looked back at our stats recently and they're not, people are enjoying them. Clearly, people are attending, they're not as high as I might expect given this response. So maybe, I don't know how
I wonder too,
elected we got in this
I
response.
don't know if it's possible that, I mean, it's only people's names, you don't know the people quite yet, but just diving into like who those people were and what demographic they might represent, right? If it's like a lot of parents who are like, I want to see kids authors come, for example, versus.
Yeah, that's a really good point. We didn't select any demographics. So you would have to select the right from the librarians.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did see one theme when I was looking through all the responses, a theme that kind of stood out to me, was multiple of these respondents were asking for kid events on weekends, like the play groups and the baby gardens and I mean, currently looking at our schedule, most of those are during the day in the middle of the week, which aligns with client's current schedule and completely understand why they're there. But our demographic in town is definitely moving to 2 working parents. So I do think investigating whether a weekend option is feasible would be really nice to see if you guys can investigate that.
Yeah.
And I did also really love the idea of the learning kits, like the pickleball kit, because it's so popular and it's right there. So the kid is here and they just want to borrow the pickleball to go play after school or with their friends. It seems like a nice tie-in while the tennis courts are still here. And then the Sunday hours and maybe started to reach out about that, and then we freaked sound out with the idea that we're trying to change the next budget, which is not your intent.
Right. Yeah, so I actually haven't heard back, but I'm pretty sure it's time and a half, at least.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so if we are to explore the idea of Sunday hours, we need to do the work to figure out how much that would be. for each Sunday. I did see one comment talking about how to access the newspaper subscriptions, and that might fit into your tech.
Yeah, that's gonna
solving
fit into
problem.
my
I think
tech.
That's like a perfect thing that you're already adding in.
Yeah.
So, that's great.
So it would just be trying to have for full-time though, right? Not part-time doesn't get time enough.
I'm not sure. That's why I reached out to.
So that's something to look at. I mean, I don't know how many librarians are part-time, and obviously even much are only part-time.
Yeah.
You know, but
Yeah.
just something that would influence your, you know, that could help figure out the budget too.
Yeah, I reached out to HR and the assistant town administrator, and it kind of like freaked them out that I was even asking because
I mean, you were in
it's
the middle
budget
of
season.
the-
Yeah, it's the current budget season. Yeah, so yeah, right.
So bad.
Yeah,
And I do think if we are to add or consider adding something like Sunday hours, there's one a really good, robust, wide survey out there, not to 112 people who saw it on the various channels that we already use, but like try to get a really broad survey.
Yeah.
Just to assess really when people would want to use the library, and then also a sense of the fund they currently use in the library.
I don't see it, again, I agree with you, the theme here, and we talked about it in multiple trustee meetings, in the last year, is that there's a changing demographic of dual working families, and the need for evening programming, programming that is, frankly, some of the daycare, quote unquote, needs for when the schools have the half days, that isn't really being met, it's driven more by current librarian schedules versus like what we like, right? And there's been, you know, we've talked to the group too, that there's times that there's a feeling among some of the library staff that we don't really want that many kids here on surprise, we don't really want them here on that day, you know what I mean? Like, so I think it's taken a look culturally too at what people are willing to kind of pick up for that. But I wonder how much the need there is for Sunday, nothing else to explore, obviously, it's been about the wish list for a while, but if there was more robust options, you know, in the evening for working families or Saturday morning, for, you know, like at some of those times that we kind of get consistent feedback around, would there be that need for Sunday as well?
Yeah, no, that's a good point, and you may not need to.
Yeah.
If we're getting to be that. I mean, I don't think you're bringing your kid. Young kid. All right, we will, future us, we'll all explore this in more detail.
Yeah.
Actually, future Sam. All right, your next item. Thank you, Mike, for doing. Look forward to seeing what hits the calendar soon.
Yeah.
Take your child to the library.
right. So Take Your Child to Library Day is on February 11th. The friends are going to do their cookie sale. So if you have cookies, drop them off. Let's see. Yeah, come eat cookies.
Are they doing the $5 then?
Well, they're individually wrapped, so I don't know how you could.
I think there was some Phillips. Yeah, I think there's a small bag.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not small, reasonable size bag for $5. But they did ask everything you get.
There's also going to be a toddler story time at 11 a.m. The Seed Library grand opening is also at 11, as I said before. That's going to take place up by the Seed Library. And there'll be people here to answer any questions about gardening, give gardening tips. We had a few patrons actually come in and say that they're very interested in learning tips, and they wanted to know if there were going to be professionals here. I said, I'm not a professional, but there will be. Littles and Letters story time is at 12, and Pumpernickel Puppets is at 2. Yeah.
Is people need to register for that, or is that?
Yeah, they need to register for all of them.
Was there a Facebook post summarizing all of these out there?
Yeah.
Maybe I'll try to post this later. It's the groups. I'm not gonna do this one. I will try to do that. Any other love your library, library? questions? Will you guys be here or just the?
Yeah, I'll be here.
I am unfortunately unable. Okay. Usually like this thing. All right, we're gonna move to library meeting. And I guess I will too. So, volunteers from friends and myself and any other trustee who wants to help. Are working on gathering sponsorships and donations and also organizing food and the volunteers meet for the event on March 31st and April 1st. I have also been working with the town administrator's office to look into the insurance, the one-day liquor license. If you want to have alcohol on the Friday, 21 plus adult ticketed event. And actually I've met with Dirigible Brewing, who was very excited to come serve here. And what I have learned is that they apply for the liquor license, provide liability insurance, provide the servers, the tip, certified servers, and handle all the money for that. So that would be, once we finish the process, they would be completely in charge of that. So I need to put Sam in touch with Chris, who's the owner, to walk through doing that. And then also talk to the LPD to see if we need a police detail. So all those things and the cost of that would determine whether we can even do it. So before we go ahead and do all of that work though, and I know you guys don't have a plan in front of you, it's being drafted right now, but if there's a one way or the other feeling of like yes or no, or maybe it's depending on the details, is it worth putting in the work to finish? Just want to get a feeling for thoughts. Because what would need to happen is once we meet with LPD and we have all of that set up, our group, our board would need to review and approve on our next meeting, and then it would go to the select board to review and discuss whether we can do that.
Would it be dirigible patrons be paying for the alcohol and then we would split it with dirigible, or they would take all the money, or what?
They would take the money, and Dirigible was talking about $1. Or not the donation from them to us. So the benefit of having beverages available is that that has been one of the most requested improvements to the event.
Yeah.
People would like to have a drink while they're walking around and bidding on the silent auction and playing golf. So there's the request. That was one of the more frequent requested what people would like added. And it would be like a cash bar. They would pay for their drinks.
Would we have to pay for the police detail?
That is a question.
So just wondering whether or not we're gonna come out under.
So that is a question we have, and I did talk to Sam, like, once we cross that bridge and if it's not feasible to cover that, then it would just cancel it, pursue it further.
I think yes.
I just have a question for Sam. Are you okay with people walking around with alcohol in the library and around the sacks and everything? I mean, not just, I'm all for it. I would love to have a beer while playing mini golf, but I think about. Concern.
I'm more concerned about the balls,
Yeah.
to be honest.
I asked Sam that
Yeah,
before pursuing it. That was my first question to Sam.
Yeah.
Is this something you are even comfortable with?
yeah.
Thank
I'm okay with it.
you.
You're gonna get a cup of straw.
I'll bring my carpet cleaner so we can use that in the thing too.
I think it's definitely worth pursuing. And then, like you said, if it's not feasible, then we have our answer and we can, and then when people ask, we can just say, you know, just not in no sense.
Yeah. Yep. And Chris at Dirigible was like really excited. He was like, this sounds awesome. I love doing this kind of back fundraisers. I'm sure he makes it in the end too, but they would handle cups and all the servers we need and money and all of that piece. And we just need to have it someone like out and have them off.
And this falls on us to go to The select board and stuff, not the friends.
So it actually, Jared will, owns the license and the person from the select board, but we have to approve it before his plan, basically what he's going to plan for them. So he pulls the license and becomes the owner of this. And liability, he has 7 million or something. Liability. We can coordinate with him, but we can't serve because we're not tip certified, right? Unless one of our volunteers is tip certified.
Yeah, they look, we had us look into this earlier, we just called wraps and they should look at it. It sounds like, it does not sound like a hard process as long as you can get on with the select board.
You know what? You guys don't actually have to look at that.
Thank you. Now I don't feel like you know much better.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a new process and I've been trying to walk through it and I mean, Sam's, the first question being like, do we even want this? So it's just silly. And then I'm gonna talk to her like, well, it would be nice to have them, but and the process being that they own the liability and of it, so that it actually is kind of a relief. And the second part of that is the town's Maya insurance company would require that we get, excuse me, additional cost, a 2-day event liability policy to cover the event in case something happens to the building,
Whether or not there's a liquor, whether or not there's liquor there.
whether or not there's liquor there. So even if we just do it off, if this is a cost that we need to do, and if the friends were taking all the money indirectly, then that we wouldn't need it because it was covered by town. But since the money is going to friends because they are the 501c3, that it requires a additional insurance policy. And the more I thought about it, the more like having an additional insurance policy should all go through the last window. Sorry, it makes me just feel a little more at ease myself.
So in terms of the division of cost, that would be something the trustees would take on? What you're thinking as opposed to?
So it is something that we could take on to protect our living. We don't have the estimate yet. The other part of that is when we sell an extra affordable. I was the estimate that Diane Jefferson, the TA's office was given was something in hundreds of.
Okay.
So like that isn't extremely helpful. Like we need 10 to pay for library mini golf to come and set up. We need 11 in order to cover the insurance too. And then food and everything too. So at this point, we're looking to cut even on the event.
Okay.
To be honest, we being friends, the group who's working at it, like our goal is to bring a community event and then like make it cut even, and then any additional will be going to programs and the money to friends so they can support the needs, the libraries, materials, whatever.
Is there going to be a fee to play or is it free?
It will be a fee. We're going to do the Friday night ticketed event and the $5 admission fee. So I think in the end, when we do the money, we will make some. There will be some of it.
Like in the past, it's been a fairly good numbers.
Yeah.
And I'm not hearing why, unless I'm mistaken, I'm not hearing why the addition of alcohol
Would be a deterrent.
would be a reason, well, would be like it's sync to that unless the police are charging astronomical.
Yeah, it's just all of the additional, like we didn't have to pay the insurance before in the old building because Maya changed their policies since we did the last one.
But that's gonna be the way.
That's when either way. And then, yeah, if the police detail is astronomical, then we need to decide whether it's worth having alcohol.
It would just be for the Friday night. It's probably
Yes, it's the ticketed event is 21 plus Friday night only, and then family day.
I don't know if this is comparable, but a fire detail for middle school musical is 200 and 260.
So I need 12 bowls of mini golf to pay for it. 12 sponsors, I got this, guys.
Well, not even you need stuff for the weekend, but I imagine you're gonna potentially sell more tickets.
Yeah.
And if there's alcohol, people will be, right,
That's right.
yeah.
Well, there's the alcohol fee, and we actually have hired building, so we actually can sell more tickets than we did. We were
Was that-
restricted to in the other building.
Did we have trouble with that? Were there people that wanted tickets that we didn't?
Yes,
We got down?
actually,
We did, okay.
All right.
Just questioning with these insurable, do they, I can't even go, so this doesn't matter specifically to me, but is it just beer, or will they be offering wine as well?
They cannot pour wine. That's not what's on there.
Yeah, okay.
And do they have?
I don't really know what they have.
I think they have some sodas.
Yeah,
Some
that's what I
cool
heard,
things,
yeah.
but I don't think they have they have an alcoholic seltzer drink too, but my understanding is that the equipment isn't transportable right now.
I don't want to be like,
No,
Don't
it's
like
been we've had this
okay.
conversation. Like, we'll definitely get waters and we'll figure out a non-alcoholic alternative, but, we're trying to people for the first one, and then if we figure out in the future year it's worth it, we can see if we could get a second group to couple license, like it'd be a separate license. One day the license to have, and then I don't even know how we're gonna fit everyone, to be honest, like.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it never entered before, for the future reps would do, the beer one.
Right, that's like the thing for something.
Mix and like cost, you know, higher, like, and also they have the ability to operate. And then it's
Good to know. We'll see how we proceed.
Yeah.
And actually, that is actually good to know for other things, too. I believe the town is only beer and wine anyway, so we would be just.
Yeah.
So that's fine. Any questions about? I think those are my 2 points to bring to you guys.
Do you need a vote on the extension?
Not because I don't have anything special in front of you, I just wanted to get a sense of the production, so it seems like we're.
Time to, so the next time we meet is in March. That would be the time to go and select those.
So our, papers need to be in to the select, or not papers. Their little papers need to be into the select board Wednesday. 15th of February, of March. And then we would review it on the ninth. So that we will have the plan in front of us as well, because it is the same plan.
So they don't.
We have to write a memo to include in that packet about the event too, so I will make sure that happens.
So they don't need our.
They don't need our pay, we would have to approve it before select it. If we don't approve it, they just scratch it from the agenda. My understanding is that is, and that gives us one more, to be honest with you, we could do the Monday before the event. Select board meeting as well, but that seems a little cheapest for comfort, to be honest.
It does all seems a little close on the respect again. Even the average. So. How do we live in the first, what are the structures? It doesn't come in the group. Well, of them are it's been.
Yep. I mean, we can try to push for the February 10th. You would think if we can see it earlier, but we don't have a meeting ahead of that, so then we have to follow pushing. To review the.
I think it's beer only. I don't know how much that's gonna drive the attendance. You're gonna go or not, and then if there's beer, oh, that's a bonus. So I'm not too worried about the advertising of the,
Yeah, it's a deal breaker. We've just been talking about this.
right.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
Good, so it's, yeah.
yeah, okay. Yeah.
Once we get through this first one, then we can like, yeah, and then the process is there, then we can start to move through.
And then I do think we can talk about, the feedback from it is that it's beer only isn't cutting it, then we can talk about going to a beer wine distributor. So. So if you guys have any thoughts about sponsors or donations, happy to take any recommendations. I'm just working through the list right now. And let's see, the second next item on the agenda is the trustee connection events. My sense from talking to everyone is that these are not working. The intention was to go and put ourselves in a place where people could connect with us and talk and share whatever it is they wanted to share about the library, concerns, love, hate, doesn't matter. But we're not actually connecting with the public or staff. They're not working. So what do you guys think about them?
Was there one recently?
Yeah, no one, we had a great time chatting for him, but no one.
Was it advertised?
Yeah.
I didn't see it.
Yeah, I don't know, I'm not seeing Facebook stuff. I'm checking
I don't get a Facebook much.
Yeah, I haven't been on Facebook.
But we were also like right front and center.
Yeah.
I think that's good as well. And I feel like people know how to find us if they. You know, to. If I should be email addresses, same as that, just as well, but it doesn't sound.
It will be interesting to see if people come to yours, because it may be that they're like, trustees, right? But management, sure, maybe.
I was actually wondering if any of us are available and want to make the offer just even more awkward, we should join you.
I love awkward.
Maybe you won't go up there, or no, that would be,
Is it March 4th?
Yeah,
March
if you
4th.
want us there in the middle.
like specifically don't want us there.
I don't specifically don't, not, if you guys want to come, that's fine with me. I
I also can't come, so I don't really have it.
Jeez. Really, I guess I'm really thankful.
It's some.
What time? I'm sorry, what time is it?
March 4th, what was it? I think it's at 10:30.
I might be at a gymnastics meet. But if I'm in town, I will happily come and support you.
I think I'm. Yep.
Yep.
That's before the meeting, I could actually.
My other thought is as long as, if we are in attendance to anything like library mini golf or love your library day or whatever, and we put our tags on and we're present, then that's another way to, like, we know crowds are coming in and just being here.
I mean, I've had a lot of conversations with people when there's on book sale, book setup and sales.
Yeah.
When they're weekends. So like, that's when people have felt empowered to come up and tell me what they like, what they don't like. You know, in the book sale where I'm helping out, people come up. So I feel like people find you.
Right.
When I've seen it, and I never, I didn't see one thing else, right away. I feel like you make them help to you. Yeah, that you're very approachable, so I don't feel like it's a. Yes, people.
Okay. If we don't think this is, it's not working, it's
I haven't decided to live with Mary yet. I'm happy to.
all right, Mary, you're on your own. Smart. Are you here on? That's my concern. I know. Yeah. that's the top line.
So the sale starts at 10 and it goes.
I think it starts at 10.
30.
They advertise it at 10:30, drop off, it's drop off.
And then it just includes. Well, if you need a different kind of cookie, I'm selling Girl Scouts cookies and market basket on there.
I'm doing that at Burlington Mall, which is why I'm not available. All right, so if we don't think those are working, let's just remove them from the calendar and then try to be present with our badges, policies, and next to or whomever is available, wear your badge. We have got us all one, but I think there's just.
Yeah, I think I got you one. You've been here long enough that I've, yeah, probably.
Sam's in refresh everyone, but at one point Mark was the only who had one. So
Yeah.
Job was off.
Yeah.
All right, so if we might be doing one. Okay. This next item on the agenda is the collection and development policy.
Okay, so can you bring that up?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, all of our computers, we can all just go to it. too.
Can you share? That's the
Yeah.
only one I couldn't open.
Yeah, the other two were, yeah. Finish again. So I guess it doesn't hurt to put it on the screen anyway. Just bounce on it, and then if you need me to approve it, I can do that.
So we have reviewed this.
We reviewed this one last year. So this was a little bit complicated. We did review this last year, and then because of recent things that have happened, I'm just seeing if I get that across from you. Okay. All right. Okay. So we decided to review it. It also, we realized that in kind of the general policies from 12 years ago, there was also a material selection policy, which had some decent information that we wanted to include as well. So we kind of took a big step back from it, and we reviewed other towns' collection development policies. We looked at the ALA kind of template for development policies, talked to the librarians, talked to Sam, talked to Katrina. This is a result of all of that. We did try to separate policy from procedure. And so as trustees, Sarah, I think we all worked on it, but Sarah and Chris and I worked specifically on this policy. And then the other two documents that we're looking at today were drafted by Sam. And they're more of a procedure from the what happens when there is a challenge standpoint. So I'm
And when
feeling-
she said we. It's nice to read it. No, I'm not taking anything from it.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who what. But this is yeah. So it's really comprehensive. We included our library, the book that we endorsed the library's bill of rights, the freedom to view, the freedom to read. And yeah, so any thoughts?
I thought it looked really good. I think the only question I had, especially in light of what we just saw on the survey materials, is up top. In in materials for children, seniors are intended to. I think that's spot on. Is there anything knowing? Like when it says like diversity of the community or anything like that, and we have a survey with 5 cut and pasted responses asking to ensure LGBTQ representation is not part of the diversity of our community. Does that give us pause here at all to make sure that our mission to equal access and to not censor books is captured adequately in that paragraph? In alignment with what the library law, for lack of a better word, better term.
Well, I think
First time I felt it did, but just seeing some of the results.
the 5 responses out of 112 is very small. And that's in 112 out of everyone that uses the library. So, and you know what, if they really feel strongly that certain material should be removed, then there's a process for that.
Our
So,
and especially, this is something I really took away from the conversation I heard from the legal guy the other day, at that webinar, is that collection development is 100% under the purview of the director and the librarians, and there's nothing, the public cannot,
They were very strong.
Yeah,
I wrote it down.
Yeah. they cannot say, I think this should be, or should think that, their voice does not matter when it comes to that, in terms legally. So we're protected.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I think it looks.
Yeah, I think the legal cases about collection development were much more clear cut than necessarily needing. Right. So,
Leaders, we have to be much more flexible, and we have to review our policy for that.
so patrons do not possess legal rights for building management, but that was to the zoning.
Yeah.
And then there was another one about similar to the collection, and there is a second one. That we need to make sure ours are doing so that we issues resolving or surrounding collection. What I liked in that same paragraph of materials and children, I do like that we are reminding patrons that it is the responsibility of the family.
Yeah.
That
That should say family too. That shouldn't necessarily say parents, should it? Guardians? I'm just thinking of it.
Is it or guardian?
I just said slash. Just to
The next sentence is reading and viewing, and when I was also looking at the procedure for the download material, I liked the sentence that is responsibility for materials selected read in read, heard, or viewed, so the hearing part of it, audio book part, being inclusive in that.
I can add that.
So that sentence almost is more clear than this one here, but consider. Yeah. I do think it's important that we specify who can choose. And that I did appreciate the red view. Components to that. It's really, really good. And then I had a question under responsibilities. Responsibility for question management. There's that.
What page is that?
Two.
Yep.
There's two sentences where you're talking about library trustees, like the second one and the fourth one, and if we could put them together. I thought that would be more.
Okay.
Because it was a little broken up, as we were talking about.
Yep.
The staff, and then we're talking about the library director, and there's been authorizing others, and then if we could talk about the authority is.
Yep.
And then the review of the field. Otherwise, this read to me, and it has hit everything that's I've sat through trainings and webinars and things about on this issue. It really hit many of those things that were laid out to separately. I appreciate, and I also appreciate the linkage to this is one link to the freedom to
Yes.
to library buildings. Those.
Okay.
So, any further discussion on the question? All in favor? Aye.
Sam, I'll get you I'm gonna clean it up a little bit. I just noticed the spacing is weird, but I'm gonna see tomorrow, put on the update. The formatting, okay. Thank you, everybody. I think that I think in light of everything, it would be advantageous if we go to the academic for the second legal thing before we do the meeting one. Is the second legal level? I don't need to write for the next time, just trying to figure out what it should be next for the policy committee to do next time.
No.
Do you have a preference for what we're doing? Next time.
Sam has some thoughts on the union policy.
Yeah.
If he's ready for that to the March meeting, great. If we need more time on that, then.
Because we can do the April meeting with that, or whichever.
Yeah, so the staff brought up just a few things about the meeting room policy that is more procedures, but it should be added there. They also wanted me to talk about the library card policy or procedure, as far as, so right now, a lot of staff know the patrons, so we don't always require that they show us the library card. And we have a lot of new staff on board and they don't feel comfortable doing that. Yeah, so just working on some sort of procedure. So that's more of a procedural thing, I think, than a.
Those do sound like procedures, but
Yeah.
you're right, the new staff. Won't know the patrons yet.
Right.
Okay.
We have a library card policy. Right?
Yeah. So
The meeting room policy, we should definitely talk about
that's what
that.
I'm thinking.
Yeah.
So we'll work on the meeting room policy. It feels like kind of a little bit of a heavy one in light of what's happened and just kind of getting our heads around the legal issues. And so if we don't have it ready for March, we'll have it ready for April, but I think that's the next week when we should kind of share. What do you think? Good. Okay. That's what we'll do.
Thank you guys for continuing. All right, so the next item is the challenge of library materials. It says policy, but I think it's procedure.
Yeah.
And request for your consideration. So my first feedback is that it should say procedure.
I can't change it when it's in screen share mode, so I will change it later.
I have no. So any, trustee feedback on the, procedure? One, I think this is great.
Wrote it 8 years ago.
I did notice that, I just want to make sure we have a discussion about this detail as a board. It limits, challenges to Littleton resident cardholders. Any, can you explain why you included that?
It's pretty standard across most libraries and also Littleton taxpayers. So.
My other thought when I saw that is the collection policy really talks about Littleton and the community that you're building the collection for. So to pair the reconsideration piece to the people you're trying to build a collection for.
Yeah.
It makes sense to me. I might recommend is not required to move that responsibility for materials selected paragraph and the no items are sequestered technical access above the Littleton resident card holder. Again, it's just sort of but it's fun.
14 days, is that calendar days? Because open days, and is that ever an issue like around holiday time? Like giving enough time when you have to go to this process?
Yeah.
Should it take business?
I mean, I don't see a difference. I think it's 14 calendar days. Is
If we had Sundays, there's a library.
yeah.
Okay.
I'm glad you ended the part about it being fully filled out.
Mm.
Yeah, but that's probably enough to say. I was just thinking like somehow with like the stressing, like you must answer every question and fill out every field, but it's fully filled out. Yeah.
I'm wondering actually in the form if we should emphasize that your name address is required. Like you need to have your name, address, and signature for it to be to trigger an official request.
I can also wonder if you could, you have to be, but just kind of from what I've done, because I'm not the legal side, but formally.
Correct. That's a good point. Yeah.
I just added that.
So I mean,
I didn't know what the other thing she said was, but that would be I could do that.
if you think about it, this is a major act of patrons. There is First Amendment rights tied into the collection development and process. So if you're going to ask for a major thing to be done, you should be putting your name on it basically. And we need your address in order to contact you to fill the process. If you can't finish the process, then it's the process that can be enforced. So I have a couple of things. So going to the description here, it says once an item goes through the reconsideration process, it says it cannot be submitted for reconsideration again for 3 years.
Mm.
Is it more that the decision stands for 3 years? And
So my reasoning behind that was like the copy paste that happened in the survey. One person does it, that doesn't stop, then it just keeps happening over and over.
I mean, I think,
Yeah.
so I guess I saw it as like someone can submit it as many times as they want, but the decision that they would remain for the
Right,
time, so they can still do what they want.
Right.
Our process covers the product of the reconsideration process.
So you would change it from it cannot be submitted for consideration again to the decision just stands for 3 years. Something like
That
that.
is
So
something.
if someone challenges the Bible, then we find that it should stand shelves. And someone then challenges the Bible again 2 weeks later, and we don't go through the process again, we don't account for that process. But
And we can still provide the letter and the outcome of that process to share with them. If there's no reason you can't share it, this was done in this part. The decision stands until they can put on the calendar for that. And I think saying that means that what I was unclear about is whether that individual can keep submitting the same book, or if it was like multiple different people could submit this book. So like, to say the decision on the book or the item stands was take it away from the number of
Right.
outside people outside of our computer.
It cannot be submitted to the consideration report, it will not be considered for the consideration.
Yes. I feel like that because if you say the decision stands, it seems like it could be overturned and stuff. Like the likelihood of it being overturned is probably on the lower side. Will not be considered for consideration sounds.
Like, that's true, because they're talking about the process. That's a good point. I like that.
It will not be considered for reconsideration again. Because people may feel like they really have to submit that form because it's just getting their vote and they just need to.
They can submit it as much as they want.
Right. So yeah,
We're not infringing on their freedom to submit the thing.
right. Yeah.
So how does it?
The item goes to the reconsidered cause that will not be considered again for 2 years.
So this does sound like we're gonna need a law at some point if we do have any of these coming, just so you know, just even refer to it, should, and what kind of. So the bullet of request for consideration form returned to the director, on a full filled out, should we emphasize here completed in its entirety, including
With all fields.
I would make that a little stronger.
I would make that one.
I don't know what, it's funny because when I was in Leominster before I came here, they were working on this exact thing. And one of the things that they really emphasized for when people were challenging books, and you have this in the question number 4, no. Question number 3, have you examined the entire resource? In Leominster, they required that you had to have read or seen whatever it was, the entire thing before you could challenge it. You couldn't just like see a title and say, I don't like that, I'm gonna challenge it. You have to actually have read it first.
I didn't enforce that.
Well, I mean, you make them, you know, say that they have
I
read
mean, I
it.
do think this, the site that pages number 4 said that.
Well, then you can say, well, what part in the book are you objecting to?
Oh,
But you have to, but one of the, like, if they check out that they didn't read it in its entirety, then it's not something they would have to accept until they do that.
Okay, because we can.
Maybe just with the form has to be filled out in its entirety and the resource has to be read, viewed, whatever. Yeah.
So I put in suggestions for them if I'm sure if it's all fields to do without one to not be accepted and we're not sure of the process. Like you're suggesting, the challenge material.
Must be reviewed in its entirety.
Read all. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I do think that is very one of the things that is currently happening in our world or US world is that people are just printing things off the internet and submitting them as their own work and their own thoughts. And I do think when you take any material in its entirety, the view of it and not do the same as when you see the headline and the excerpted screenshots on social media.
Also, I think the challenge that you got last month was probably just off of the title too. $20 if they probably didn't even read the book.
Oh, they
So-
don't.
Did we have another one?
There were technically
Technically
two,
none.
technically none.
None
None completed. I had one phone call.
Just like you do what you're writing also then I have to.
Yeah. I had one phone call, one parent actually come to my office, did not fill out the form. And then another parent, which I think was in the same family as the first parent, left the form with the staff, same thing, they didn't fill it out at all. So,
Well, it's successful, and I think the dialogue is really important. I think that it's, I think that it's important if we're in something for people to be able to voice concerns if they think we're put on board or if they think that there's someone there that it's a valid thing.
Discussion goes a long
Yeah,
way.
I want them to feel this is accessible, and I think there have to be some valid limits. I think your point is really well taken, that this is a pretty significant, process and violation of other people's rights to be potentially pulling a resource, and, information. I'm happy to kind of play my role in this process and then ask too, and for sure the process, but, giving someone your name, a valid address, and saying, I actually view this on myself and have a reaction to it is the start of that conversation.
So if someone submits a form and is fully completed, would you then meet with them? Because I could easily say, oh, yes, I read the whole thing, and then I just pulled off, oh, Mike objected to page 4 or whatever, and I just copied that. So would you then obviously you're trusting that they, but I'm not saying that there's no way to not, there's no, anyone can get around it if they want to. Right, but so then is the next step you would meet with them?
yeah, so yeah, the last patron that actually came to my office came to me with the pages printed out, but it was something that she got off the internet.
Right.
Yeah, so, but yeah, the patron would come to me, I'd speak to them, and if they want to go through it.
I think it shows the library's values. I think what I'm taking about Mike saying, what Sam's saying, is like it shows the library's values that, we value freedom of information, we value being a resource to everybody, and we're asking people who are concerned about that to do their part too. Doesn't mean they're going to.
Right.
Right. Control it any more than we can control people that are doing, the library, when we do the reading challenge stuff, that they're actually reading the books versus blogging them. And,
Right.
We can just get free reading, we can get 3 books from upstairs. Like it's all honor, but I think it at least says out there that we're going to honor you and have this really vibrant discussion with you, and we're going to do our due diligence too. And we just ask you to do yours first. And I think that's the value of the board.
So I think in the procedure, it even says the library director and the review committee will read the book in its entirety.
Yeah.
So-
The same thing,
Right.
We'll watch the movie, we'll do whatever it is, so.
I also appreciated in this procedure that you will be providing the patron with the collection development policy, and so that they understand what goes in, like why it's even potentially how it needs to be policy. Because that's a big part of it, is to determine if that material was appropriately purchased given our policy. Another question I had was the review committee is director and department head. Is that an appropriate composition for a review committee, given that we're libraries or
Do you need anybody else, or is that
need a
a
third?
No, sometimes it's just a director. It's not, usually it's it would be Diane, the children's librarian, whoever. So usually the children's librarian, the YA librarian, me, Mike, we choose the books. So it was a book like gender, right, right.
Is there ever then down the road a challenge to that being biased, if you guys also follow books? So you took them in.
That's when if the patron desires further action, then they appeal to the board because the right were brought in.
Yeah.
But, okay.
But you're from a legal standpoint, is there?
I'm just asking.
Yeah,
I think so.
because I think the question's on the policy.
I think that falls back into what we're talking about, the patron's right in collection development, which we will make sure we're planning when we do initial one. The responsibility and rights fall under the people we are asking to review the book too. So, and given our collection policy talks about looking at the awards and all of the, you're basically doing the double work, right? So
Yeah.
they did really good.
Do we need to approve the procedure and the form, or is this not because their procedures are policy? they're not even allowed to approve.
No,
Right,
Dan
right, okay.
has, I believe procedures are built.
Yeah, so we're
So
not,
we are,
yeah, we're just. looking
we
at
are reviewing and making suggestions with Sam as the ultimate.
Yeah.
Responsibility for this discussion.
Do we need to offer, just with respect to homebound patrons, things like this, do we need to offer this online, the form?
I think, is it?
So that
It is new.
That's all.
Did I say before I should the card holder, given that we require the card number, should the card number, the library card number be part of the form? Given the procedure says it will, needs to have a card.
I mean, we can,
What's your
You
procedure?
can probably look it up.
we can look them up by their
Okay,
name, yeah,
So
and,
it-
and
but
card numbers can
but that's
change.
saying if it's not, so legally, if it's not on this form, and they submit one. Checkbox. To be able to, like, moving our library,
I don't know.
is it any part of his consortium? No, it's just a little.
Yeah, I can look that up, yeah.
So resident is more important than the other side, because they have to have a library card too.
So your. Policy says, or what is it? Your procedure says.
It says
Resident.
Card holder.
But then later it says just the resident, must be a resident.
Yeah, so I just want to make sure that we are crystal clear in what we're requiring. Okay, we should be a card holder.
Right, if you don't have a card holder, then why should you have a say in what's in the library?
Exactly.
Painful materials.
So you can have it kind of.
Oh, it is, Sam, I don't know, I'm dying myself.
Yeah.
I guess I just like the consistency of like, if you're going to require a card number, then it should be on the form.
I was just thinking that, and
I agree.
like, I think that's fine, and also in the paragraph, just like. There's the paragraph that says card holder and the bullet point. that
Well, then
does
maybe
it.
we should take out a card holder, if it's just a little resident.
Well, I think that the question is which does Sam want to be?
Adding card number in there doesn't, it's fine. We can add that in there.
This is one of those questions, who, this specific question is something that I've seen debated in multiple different ways in every trustee policy and even the ALS policy. There's various ways that it's been discussed. So if we are comfortable with resident and card holder combining, then we can proceed with that.
I don't know that it needs to be a card holder. But again, like, that's just my,
I feel like, I feel like, like you said, if they're taxpayers, so I think they should just be a resident of them. Card holder or not, you know, like someone said, like they're a taxpayer, so. You know, my tax, maybe I don't want my tax, maybe I don't use the library, but I want my tax dollar supporting books I don't believe in or whatever, like. I think it's more resident and that's more broad.
I mean, before the policy that was in general, whatever that one was called, it didn't specify at all anyone could
right.
challenge.
So,
So that
yeah.
already, like, restricting it to Littleton residents and are the taxpayers for whom we are developing this collection.
Yeah.
It, to me, it taxpayer, like the resident. Enough.
Yeah.
That's fine.
I mean, and then there's a resident can become a card holder.
Right,
And
Yeah.
vote.
yeah, I mean, it would take 2 seconds.
You become a card holder and you will be.
Right.
Okay, so we're taking it off.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the goal is to make sure somebody is truly doing the work to submit the request if that's unofficial. I mean, the other thing is that this doesn't mean that if someone who fills out this form doesn't complete, like doesn't add their name or whatever, they can provide you feedback on what their thoughts are on it, just may not trigger the official reconsideration procedure. So we have been receiving those and they're taken, we've had discussions about them, so they've been taken seriously.
I've spoken to at least 2 of the people.
I do like that you've spoken to multiple of them, or those who will speak to you.
Okay.
And I think that discussion is what matters the most.
And the second person actually still comes to the library. I see her here.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, we all have this different points of view.
Yep.
It still is. Oh, yeah, and submitting one of these, you can still come.
Yeah, right.
We welcome you to come. That's a good point.
When you do publish, it's just a link to the collection development policy, which I will copy the updated version to you. So
So we do not need to vote on this. Can I close this discussion? Any? Okay, other business?
So Helen always signed off on my credit card purchases. That was some like a checks and balances we came up with. I think you guys have to vote on letting Mike do that. So it can wait until the next one if you want to make it an official agenda item, but
We moved to have the assistant director sign off on it.
yeah, that would probably be better. Yeah.
please stay.
I would like you to stay. That's my mother said. But do we, in terms of, and this is a finance thing, we might need to appoint more formally. This is a question for you. Do we want to specify any?
Which thing is Jeff?
As a role, is it in the rules and responsibilities of the assistant director of the description?
No.
Let's vote for me. Okay.
Technically, it's not mine either. So
Well,
they all come through us.
they all come through you guys as well. That's true.
That's the, and
That's
there's
good.
another layer either way, so.
So it goes from you do it, she would. sign
Yeah,
off on
so,
it, and then it
And
goes
then ultimately I decide.
So no, so pretty much all the bills I sign off first, and then it goes to the other trustees. But in the past, we had my credit card purchases go to Helen just to make sure that I'm not like booking trips to Acapulco or something, you know. So right, right. Yeah. So yeah, so that was the one thing that always went to me. But
Does Mike have a card that he wants to get rid of?
no, Helen did, but Mike doesn't. No, Helen didn't even remove this. She didn't even remove the thing off of it. She never liked using it. Yeah, she did return it, and I gave it to Alicia. So yeah.
Okay. One.
I move for the assistant director to sign off on.
Sign off on credit card purchases made by the library director.
All in favor? Okay.
I'm going to Mexico.
Thank you. You are now in it together. You'll have to include the two dresses.
No, not often. No, Austin, Texas. Check that this morning.
I was in my kids before. Yeah. All right, any other business?
I have one thing, I'm assuming it's okay to bring up, I was talking to Brandon, who's been doing a lot with the library, bookstore room. And he would love to have different shelving in there. So is that something that if we had a volunteer willing to like build or secure so that the shelving kind of went all the way around the room? Like, is that like a thing or is that something that?
So, has he spoken to the rest of the friends? Or, okay, I
I
think
have a tag on, so I was like, looking at.
I love that he felt like he could speak to you about this. Because,
Yeah, a lot of thoughts about it. And it's he's doing an amazing job. They have a ton of books in there.
are you talking about the storage room?
The storage room, just a little
In the
storage
book
room.
drop.
Yeah, with the book droppers. And so they have one metal shelving thing in there. And I know, I think the question is more like, if I reached out to friends or if he, like, does this have to go through some kind of building approval to put either an additional like sturdy shelving in there or to secure some on the walls or without the cost associated with it? You know, if we were
Volunteer with them.
recycling it, if
we have husbands that were willing to kind of really get and actually build something with this, or like, how does that work?
Sam, how would you like to deal with this?
I think when it comes to shelving, we probably have to talk to Ed about securing it. Because
Sam,
again,
I'm gonna put you in
yeah,
charge of deciding and figuring out what. to
Yeah.
do. So
yeah. I'll talk to Ed and see what.
we can also talk to,
Mm,
see what he's doing.
Yeah, yeah.
To see what, maybe there's already a solution.
Yeah,
I can show you exactly what he's looking for, and I think
Okay.
that when you like look at just the mom stage, it would be pretty easy to at least get something better in there.
Mhm.
Those
yeah, I agree. It needs something better, but yeah, I don't want to say, yeah, go build something and then Ed says, take it down.
So if you think
Yeah.
that we are planning, we could pass it by the building.
Yeah.
inspector, before we. Got it, okay. So I have, if unless there's other business, anyone else? Okay, two Sam related things. Sam's review, so it seems like way early to be talking about this, but when I look ahead, we're not that far away. So, Sam's review is due by June 30th. And normally we do that the meeting before the election, but we've moved our trustee meeting to the second Thursday of the month, which now falls after the election. So, and we've tried to do it in May before the election, just so that you have the board who's been with you for the full year reviewing it. I did look today, and currently Chris and I are leaning into the full papers, so unless there's another candidate who comes up before the middle of March, I'm not anticipating a big shift, but we never know. We can revisit this in March if we want. So the options for Sam's review would be April 13th, May 11th, or June 8th. April 13th is the one before the election, or May 11th is the one after it. And you need this last couple. So my question is, we asked Sam, we gave Sam a lot of milestones. Tasks, so it was 11 months review, post our last line of fair and period to the evaluation. Or do we think we should do the middle? And whomever is on the board at that point. Do you have a preference?
No. Either one's fine. Yeah. I think it's gonna be the same board anyway, so either way.
Currently it's looking like the board, but there could be.
There could
something
be.
else we pull the paper.
Yeah. April 13th is fine with me.
You're not worried about the extra thing. Okay. Board, do you want to have strong feelings? I think that's fine with that. That's fine, and I won't be doing this for person, but definitely. I'm gonna get extra responses from here. Okay. And then can we talk about the process of the review? So last year we collected feedback via an optional survey from staff. Do you feel like that? We've had a lot of staff shifts, so I'm wondering if that's a fair assessment this year, and then. I'd like to hear.
I think it's fine, unless there's anyone that specifically feels like they have something to put in on site.
I'm happy to listen to any staff. member
Right.
who would like to.
But I
share
would
their-
say it that way as opposed to like, please fill out the survey.
Yeah.
Because people, yeah, that's my thought.
Yeah, we were, that one, I don't, again, I think that we look at your objectives, but I don't think they were aligned with that.
No, I don't believe things objectives were aligned to another staff input. At this current time.
Right.
They might change in the future.
And some of them were aligned to upsetting staff.
That's true.
So
Well, I also, in my opinion, we've had a good number of staff turnover at this point, and so I'm not sure it's fair to ask, especially in the staff to. Did I do that? So I'm not just going to. Okay, so we're going to forego that part of the process. This year. What do you guys think about last year? We had everyone filled out one of the forms, and I put everyone's answers together in the same form. for the trustees feedback. We want to do that for the next meeting. Sam also did his own and provided his own feedback. And he might have to-
I think it's helpful to have what's it called? The thing,
We all had to rate him and get feedback.
the thing that, no, actually, what is the thing that the kids, the thing that says, this is how you get an A?
Rubric.
Yes, rubric. I think it's helpful to have the rubric. As a, to jog memory and also, yeah, to focus. That's just me.
I personally appreciate hearing everyone's feedback on each section because I think we all interact differently. So there's something that I see may not be the other. So did you find that kind of feedback helpful?
That's fine.
Really unfair question to just ask.
No.
I hate it.
I'm sorry for phrasing it that way. But I do appreciate that we all interact. To hear from you. Okay, so we will pull up your last one and then send them around and feedback. The font. Sam, do you have, is there a new form for HR that we need to complete? Or we are probably so far ahead of the process choosing it today.
Yeah, probably.
Do you want to check in?
True.
We will aim for April 15th.
Okay.
All right, my next item is his contract expires June 30th, and we should vote in our executive session in November 2 weeks. Contract, and Sam said he would like to be extended. So the next for this is I'm going to send the contract to each of you after this meeting to, if you have feedback on it, to just share it so that we can, when I go to HR and to make sure Sam's contract is on with the other contracted positions that we what we want in our contract is done. Together. And I am looking into the question you had about your vacation carryover.
Yeah, I spoke to Anthony and he said it was okay with him. He actually carries over way more.
I'm sure, my understanding is that it's different by each of those contracted positions, and they're trying to make them real. So I'm going to go see what they do. So that is something I'm trying to look into. So thank you for sharing. So I will share that with you guys right after this. And so if you guys could aim for feedback by March 1st, I think at this point of time to get that through legal. You haven't changed anything. If you are, we wait on it. Okay, good. I have no other news business. So let's move to trustee updates. So that was other business. Anyone have?
I used the notice service for the first time because my school was closed on Friday. And there was something over. So it was easy. And I just scanned it in. I do all those things at school, but the school is closed. I mean, I wouldn't know that. When I got off this, I've been doing printing books that worth more than words. So huge shout out to Wayne. He is super fun. He's been there often.
Yeah.
He's in there a lot. I am his biggest link. She's told me kindly. I'm not reading books that fast enough and working on that.
Other of us could also do that, right? Like other of us or other volunteers that could probably bring books. So if you need other help, you could probably talk to Sam and get other people to help too.
I feel like Sam's kind of on his plate, and I.
I'm just saying, like, we have volunteers, yeah.
No, but it's nice, and I take them, normally the kids in my school, then you can take them into law as well, so. Their schools, it's very symbiotic, so it's like lovely, I've been, you know, stuff, between that music signing off.
the reverse painting thing. It was really fun.
I wanted to go to that.
My personal opinion is we should do more crafts.
I
But that
have
was
to
really
say,
fun.
I've enjoyed every craft. I've
Me too. Yeah, I wanted to do the wire tree one, but not available that thing. But yeah, it was really nice.
I don't know if I bring
The wire tree.
no the reverse.
It stressed me out a little bit, but it was okay.
It was a good challenge. Yeah. You can't. Don't answer that. Let's see. So one thing, Sam and I did both get a call last Saturday and just that for below freezing events, and the library was pulled at 9 a.m. on Saturday for the select board FinCom meeting. And they were sitting in the warmest room of the building. So it was in the 60s. So the building actually did really well in freezing event. Nothing froze. It was doing decent, but we didn't pull the heat up overnight. And that's not something I even thought about until the morning of the fall. So when we have a major freezing event like we did last weekend, we should consider getting occupied outdoors.
Yep.
And then I noticed that when you do that, you actually have to do it by one. When you do just the general building, it doesn't do the whole building. So
Okay.
Specifically making sure I think the gallery and the entries where the doors are available.
Yeah, in the janitor's closet.
In the janitor's closet. I kept that one away. So I should bump it. But it was kind of and then I do want to give Diane another shout out. I have my own personal bookworm who does not like book projects reader, and so they're doing the library projects, and she was ready and constant kids coming in to pick out books, and it was when I was watching her and experienced not only my own child but watched her with the others, that she was really good at targeting books for each kid. So I'm very grateful for her reader advisory services, especially for these kind of things that can be really painful for parents. So she nailed it. My husband even read it, but both loved it, and they're doing a project together. It was a real win for me. Sign of the Beaver, which was the very award winner in 1984.
Oh my God, I read that. I was gonna
Great.
say that's an old book.
It was an old book.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was like, I think you're really like this. And I was like,
Yeah.
when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Probably
Wow.
his age when I read it. So yeah, my husband hadn't read it, so he read it after Eric raved about it. And she actually gave him 2 to take home to try reading the first couple pages of each, and he's a book. So it was like, I'm Diane's go-to solver for chapter books. Otherwise, he won't try. That's great. So thank you to your staff.
Yeah.
Now, do you guys have anything to share for me?
I just had a question, and this is, I'm not concerned at all about it. I think it's awesome, but when you mentioned that the Perkins School for the Blind, wanted to do the LGBTQ program, I'm just thinking about the pushback in Chelmsford.
Mhm.
Are you anticipating any pushback from people that would be against having something like that happen, and how do we handle that?
I mean, it's always possible. I think everyone so far who's challenged it, I mean, obviously they've wanted to stay at least somewhat anonymous because they haven't filled out anything or really moved the ball, on it. So, I mean, it's of course it's possible, but if it does happen, I'll reach out to LPD and Chief Bernard, town administrator. But I don't anticipate it getting to that level.
And then how do we, and I know this is, address this, but if it comes up sooner, like Chelmsford Library, they were told you have to allow this person that they didn't want to allow, right? So,
And they did.
well, they have to,
Well,
right?
their policy was recommending that they needed to be open to all.
Right, and ours is currently written that way as well.
Okay,
We could make the choice not to, but it gets us into kind of a place of trying to decide what's appropriate, what's not appropriate. It's
When you
either,
try to restrict us,
right, it's either better to have completely open to all viewpoints, or not, or no outside groups, basically, or outside.
My question actually, so our current policy is open to all. My question or something to kind of consider and think about is how, what's the difference between a partnership with the library, which I think is part of the reason where they got some pushback in Chelmsford versus a, so partnered program. Versus a group who's holding a program, but the library.
Right.
Is
Because
not
Perkins would be a
partner.
partnership.
Perkins wouldn't be a partnership. It'd be just a program that, like any other program that we're holding.
But we would be organizing. it.
Oh, yeah, we do organize.
Not a partnership, but like, as
Right.
opposed to them calling me like, can we use your meeting room?
Yeah,
Right,
it's one thing if they reserve a meeting full day program.
right.
We didn't find out about that. That would have been a good question to ask the guy.
We didn't, we need to look at the recordings of those.
Yeah.
Actually, so last night was Chelmsford's trustee meeting and I was unable to listen to people discussing this very topic and taking public input on that as well. So I don't know if there's, if you could reach out to your family in the library and see what was learned or what they have learned through this process. It would be really wonderful to listen and learn from them. And, or even have a meet their trustees and have a conversation.
Yeah.
Happy to meet with them.
That's what I hosted at May, trustee meet and greet.
Yeah.
Surrounding towns and just, talk through anything community involved, just have fundraising, community connections, talk DEI, initiatives and things
I
like
do
that.
think that's something we should consider local trustee issues.
Yeah.
That does remind me, I did meet with, Westford's, one of their trustees who is organizing their fundraising, they're heading their fundraising for their new library expansion. And Sarah and I met with her, because she was asking all the faculty who are fundraising, how do we get to 1 million? Plus they're looking to get to 1.5 million. So they are picking the things, which is a great conversation. Thanks a lot for but yeah, that's, I think there's one example. If we did that as a one-off with one trustee, but I do think we're all facing similar questions and issues. So do we want to host an event?
Yeah.
And invite or
Yeah.
everyone's emails must be public. So we should be able to do so. Or do you think that's to go through the directors to see if they
Yeah, I can send out something on the director's list. Or
would trustees be interested in
yeah, I can definitely. send that.
such a homegrown event in MDSC?
What do you want to call it? Like a director's,
What would be trustees?
sorry, trustees.
Just-
Maybe.
I don't know. Let's figure that out next time. Is that okay? If we figure
Yeah,
it out-
I'm
We'll
okay
figure
calling
it
it.
out.
Let's figure out what to call it. And
Because if we're gonna do it after,
after
Like,
we
you know
go,
what, anyway, we can just let's let it.
let's percolate.
Yes. Figure out what we want.
All right, so we've reached the end of our agenda.
I also have one more quick question, and this is just thinking more towards the future. Are we gonna continue, I'm continuing on Zoom, I know no one joins, but like, are we keeping the Zoom option ongoing? I'm thinking about me not being here in the summer.
So that is a state decision. I'm not sure when the next decision is.
So for right now, it is.
We do typically take one of the meetings off.
And it'd only be July and August, I'm here in June.
Sounds like July is already thin. Maybe August is thin too. We might need a different week for one of those. Like last year, I think we tried to meet in the middle.
Yeah, I think that's right.
So I think we went from somewhere in the beginning of August.
But if it's on Zoom, I can, I can be on Zoom, I just physically.
Yeah, I don't recall what the state.
You can all come to me.
Local public participation is what they see, but we can all.
We can bus them.
Got that credit card.
Yeah, exactly.
Guys, we exactly. Yeah, seriously. All right, let's move to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
The next meeting is March 9th, 2023.